welcome to Xhibition, an Xbox podcast, episode 1. My name is Samuel Adams, and man, did I choose a great week to start an Xbox podcast, because not only did we have the announcement of the 20th anniversary celebrations for Xbox and for Halo, Starfield is going to be an Xbox and PC exclusive, and I am sure, beyond the shadow of a doubt, that this content section below a YouTube video on a fledgling channel that has no way to defend itself against internet trolls and 4chaners, I'm sure it's going to be perfectly safe and amicable and wonderful. Isn't it? Don't hurt me. But we do have plenty of news to dive into on today's show. If you are new here, which you probably are, again, since this is an entirely new show, this is a weekly Xbox podcast bringing you a news recap. On top of that, interviews and conversations are coming in the future. Very excited about getting started with you all. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bite the bullet, shall we? A report suggests that Starfield will be exclusive to Xbox and Windows PC, and some screenshots have leaked online. Let's start with a statement from Jeff Grubb, a very notorious industry leaker, who says, quote, "Starfield is exclusive to Xbox and PC, period. This is me confirming that." He continues, "Like, go write the story. I blame Tim Geddes and Game Over Greggy for infecting me with their doubt on Gamescast. I should have listened to the vicious 696 on my shoulder, but yes, I have since confirmed this. I thought I was ending a discourse, not starting one. As it turns out, the discourse had just begun. As you see here on the What's Happening section on Twitter, Bethesda is trending along with Starfield. People cannot stop talking about the fact that it seems this is going to be an Xbox exclusive. Whenever the news of the Bethesda acquisition was first announced, I was somebody who thought that the acquisition had happened to give Microsoft a buffer. So if Xbox Series X and S had not worked out, which as it turns out they are working out very well, but if they had not worked out and they were not successful from the very beginning and it was going to be another Xbox One style generation, then Microsoft could just invest in gaming in an alternative way, and they could have Bethesda there to create games across not only Xbox, but also PlayStation and Nintendo, and continue generating a lot of revenue, because they are effectively leaving a lot of money on the table if they aren't putting this game on PlayStation, or if they are not trying to bring it to a Nintendo system. That's a very large user base they're leaving out in the cold. But on the flip side of that, to make it an Xbox and a PC exclusive adds a lot of value to this ecosystem. And so if they believe in what Xbox is providing to the marketplace, if they have faith in the experience they are delivering to players, and they want to reinvest in making Xbox the best place to play, then that gives them plenty of incentive to make it an Xbox and PC exclusive. It's effectively investing in your hardware and in your internal capabilities versus investing in other companies and their capabilities. And so Microsoft kind of got the best of both worlds, and they now have Bethesda, which is effectively a Microsoft company, and they are investing in their hardware by creating fantastic Bethesda games, and it looks like Starfield is going to be the first of those that is an exclusive to the Xbox ecosystem. Phil Spencer has said that Bethesda games will be where Game Pass is, and that's a larger conversation. You could see Game Pass come to PlayStation, you could see Game Pass come to Nintendo in the future even, because we've seen what's capable through cloud streaming, and you could see it achieved that way, where they have some kind of browser extension that lives on the PlayStation 5 dashboard or on the Nintendo Switch dashboard or home screen, where you can access cloud gaming through that route. Of course, that would not be the same kind of experience at this stage of the game that you get on an actual device, but that is still potentially an option. So the future is again open. The future has a lot of possibilities. Conversations will have to be had. Contracts will have to be signed. But as it stands right now, Jeff Grubb says Starfield is exclusive to Xbox and to PC. Now back to this Windows Central report, you do see some screenshots here that were shared, and they do look to align pretty well with what we saw last year during the Starfield leak. And we did see a couple of seconds of gameplay footage that was out there swirling around, and it looks like this is going to line up with those. So assuming that was legitimate, then this also looks to be legitimate, and if both of these are legit, I'd say you're probably going to be getting some kind of update at E3 in a couple of weeks. That feels very natural. That feels like the logical next step. So stay tuned. I am sure more information is on the way, but PlayStation fans are very upset, and again, The Xbox Series S provides an incredibly affordable route into the Xbox ecosystem. On top of that, you see PlayStation bringing even more of their games to PC, so I would assume as well that a lot of PlayStation fans are probably eyeballing PC as a potential third-party platform for them to get away from consoles. You have other options to play, and this is, at the end of the day, capitalism at work. Whether you like it or not, companies can do this, and exclusives sell consoles. You see that exact same route happening with what Sony is delivering, where you have Spider-Man, you have Ratchet & Clank, you have Returnal. These are big defining experiences. Demon's Souls. That's what the PlayStation 5 is rooted in, creating these fantastic first-party experiences that you can't get anywhere else. And Microsoft is finally making the investments to deliver on that same kind of premise and to make that same kind of experience happen in the world of Xbox. And as somebody who has an Xbox Series X, this doesn't really impact my perception of it. It makes me happier about my purchase. But on top of that, it makes me proud to be an Xbox player. It makes me excited to be a Game Pass subscriber because I know that this game is going to be there on day one without any additional cost to me. $15 a month on top of having my console, I'm good to go. And that makes me pumped. On top of that, I've been playing a lot of Xbox Cloud Gaming through the browser version of it at work during my lunch breaks. And so to be able to log in, to be able to boot up Starfield in the cloud, which hopefully by the time Starfield is out, which is hypothetically fall 2021, but by the time that Starfield is out, I would love to see Xbox upgrade that cloud infrastructure and get that running on the same blades as the Xbox Series X and the S. But to be able to get that kind of experience on the go and to be able to say, hey, I'm playing Starfield in the cloud, that sounds fantastic. So many possibilities this generation. But if you were wondering what the route would be, if Phil Spencer's comments a couple of months ago did not convince you, and the rest of the conversations around the subject did not convince you, it seems Jeff Grubb is trying to convince you yet again that Starfield is an exclusive to Xbox and PC. Once again, period. Not coming to PlayStation. And that is just one more celebration to have if you are celebrating 20 years of Xbox like the rest of the Xbox community is. This comes from the Xbox Wire, where Major Nelson is kicking off the celebrations a little bit early. He starts off with a question. Do you remember where you were when you played your first Xbox game? I'd love to hear what your first experience is with the brand. If I remember correctly, I was over at a friend's house, and I think we were playing Halo Combat Evolved. I think there was also some MX Unleashed involved in there as well, because that was the game that I was familiar with. That's one that's actually backward compatible today if you did want to dive in and check that one out. But it's been 20 years, and so coming up on November 15th, 2001, you have not only the North American 20th anniversary of the Xbox, but on top of that, Halo Combat Evolved. The Halo franchise is celebrating its 20th anniversary as well, and Major Nelson celebrates with a lot of fond memories and a lot of how the brands themselves have changed over the years. But what is the actual news? What are we getting here today to kick off the celebrations? First off, you get some merch. You can buy a t-shirt, a bag, a hat, some cups, whatever you want, a pillow even if you want to get the commemorative Halo and Xbox 20th anniversary branded merchandise, with more on the way in the months ahead. But on top of that, if you might not be into merch, perhaps I could interest you in a free anniversary themed wallpaper, which I must admit I am pretty fond of. I do like these wallpapers. And if you haven't already, Xbox has a pretty solid wallpaper hub that I use to decorate my devices, but you see the Time Warp wallpaper, you see the 20th anniversary light wallpaper, the dark wallpaper, and the 20 years of Halo, which I think is one that really speaks to me. Love this wallpaper. Love the fact that you have Halo Infinite and Halo Combat Evolved kind of coming together in this one unique experience to really showcase what they delivered here and what they aim to deliver this holiday season with Halo Infinite. On top of that, there are Twitch streams that kicked off last week, with more coming in the summer ahead, and you can always stay up to date with xbox.com/20 years. And if you are a fan, maybe you are involved in Xbox Fan Fest, there's also some merch for you as well floating around out there. You can sign up, get some exclusive 20th anniversary merch as well. Now, on your Xbox Series X or your S, there is also plenty of reason to celebrate, because not only do you have the customizable profile pic that is the 20th anniversary celebration, you also have the original dynamic background. This is something that was added a bit early for Xbox insiders, but effectively it's a skin that makes your Xbox Series X and S look like the original Xbox dashboard. I love these. I love these so much. Whenever I was a PlayStation guy, I had the commemorative PlayStation 1 wallpaper up, and that was basically what I used throughout my entire PlayStation 4 generation. I can't explain how much I love these little nostalgia tidbits, these little commemorative anniversary pieces that showcase the history of the platform while also being modern, while also having that same kind of capability you expect from a modern piece of hardware. And so all of that to the side, if you do want to check out the original dynamic background and you have an Xbox Series X or a Series S, you can check those out now. Or even if you did want to dive in and apply one of these anniversary-themed wallpapers to your device, you absolutely can do that as well. So depends on what you are into, I suppose. But it will look better than ever when you do check out these on your television if you have Dolby Vision, because Microsoft is rolling out Dolby Vision in a gaming test on the Xbox Series X and S. This is something that was announced a couple of months ago, just before the consoles themselves launched, I believe in August, if I remember correctly. But this is very massive, and it's hitting the Xbox Insider's Alpha Ring this week, so if you are an Xbox Insider in that Alpha Ring, you can check out Dolby Vision on your Xbox Series X or S now. This is something that effectively increases the brights, it deepens the darks, and it makes a much more enticing look for your picture quality. So if you are somebody who is playing on a 4K television with Dolby Vision included in that package, you have quite the experience going forward. On top of that, it takes out the need for any kind of sliders, any kind of adjustments, any kind of settings menus. Dolby Vision automatically calibrates the image on your screen to make it the best possible that it can possibly look. That's something that I think is very valuable, because as somebody who hates navigating menus and trying to calibrate my vision and trying to calibrate my television to hit that ultimate experience, I don't have to do that anymore. I sit down, I turn on my TV, and Dolby Vision is there ready to make that pop. My question here is it fully ready? I know that earlier on, as reported here in The Verge, the testing showed that Dolby Vision restricted the refresh rate to 60 Hz versus 120 Hz, and so Dolby had to start working with TV manufacturers to ensure that that experience was up to snuff before launching on the Xbox Series X and S. So hopefully they ironed out all of those issues, and there are no caveats to using Dolby Vision alongside any of the other many experiences and many other accoutrements that are coming in the Xbox Series X and S bundles here. Excited to see this feature finally rolling out, even if it is just in testing, and I am sure you will hear more in the weeks ahead, and I will let you know on the episode of the podcast as soon as possible when this is available to everybody in the general population. But if you don't want to play on a television, perhaps you do like playing on mobile, Xbox Game Studios has some content coming your way, because it looks like a new partnership with Tencent is on the way. This company, I believe it's Timmy, is how I've always said it. Could be Timai, could be Teamai, whatever it might be. It's the mobile division of Tencent, and they are famous for games like Call of Duty Mobile. That's the big one that stands out. But on top of that, you have Honor of Kings and Pokemon Unite. Crossfire Legends is also one that is mentioned here on Windows Central. But these two companies are teaming up to create mobile experiences. This is something that is very significant. They say, quote, "Today, Tencent Tianmai Studio Group," believe I said that correctly, Tianmai, perhaps, announced that it has formally formed an in-depth strategic partnership with Xbox Game Studios. The two parties will combine their respective experiences and advantages to carry out in-depth cooperation. The announcement goes on to say, "Through this strategic cooperation, Timmy Studio Group will carry out multidimensional and in-depth cooperation and communication with Xbox Game Studios, jointly create excellent game content, and bring brand new game sensory experience to players," end quote. So, whatever these projects may be, I'm excited to see them come to light. And looking towards Call of Duty Mobile, I think it would be very interesting to see a mobile Halo experience truly brought on to the Apple App Store and into Google Play, because that's something that Halo is constantly lacking. It feels good to play through cloud gaming, but whenever you see Apex Legends coming to mobile devices, and when you see Call of Duty thriving on a mobile platform, when you see EA announcing that a mobile Battlefield game is on the way, You look towards Halo and you say, if these first-person shooters can make it happen, why can't you? Even if it is just some kind of port for Halo Combat Evolved or Halo 2, whatever it might be, it would be nice to see these experiences brought and delivered and created for mobile devices as mobile continues to grow. And on top of that, phones, they're more powerful than they've ever been before. There is some impressive hardware within the iPhone 11, the iPhone 12. Basically, any phone that is 4 years old or newer can run a lot of pretty impressive games. And then you see the Nintendo Switch, for example, using the power of the cloud to stream games and to play stuff like Control. It might not be the Ultimate Edition that you get on the Xbox Series X or S or PlayStation 5, but it certainly is a pretty impressive experience. And so if that hardware is there, if those capabilities are there, then to see Xbox Game Studios work with Tencent to create some mobile-focused experiences is certainly nice. I'll also say that if you focus on creating games that are rooted in these legendary franchises like Gears of War and like Halo and any of these other big Xbox franchises that exist out there, you begin to open up a new world of gamers to brands that they have never heard of before. And I think that is incredibly valuable in the long run. Because if somebody starts playing a mobile version of a game and they fall in love with that mobile game, then they have more of an incentive to go ahead and maybe check out the game on Game Pass Ultimate. $15 a month for a subscription, they can dive in and check it out. In fact, why not? 3 months for $1, Microsoft says, and they're in the door. Another subscriber has joined Game Pass. You have it ready to go. Then, let's say they start playing some Game Pass games and they say, hey, I kind of want to see this on my television. You have an Xbox Series S hooked up to your 1080p TV. $300 isn't that big of an investment for a lot of people that might have a couple of $100 saved up. They can go ahead and throw that money their way, and their Game Pass Ultimate subscription automatically gives them those mobile experiences on top of that console experience on their new console. Or if they want to go a step further, even an Xbox Series X, and before you know it, you have a fully fleshed out gaming population that started from a simple free-to-play mobile game. That's where the real value comes from, and I think Microsoft understands the necessity to spend money to make money. You have to spend money to get people to invest in your ecosystem. You have to bring people in through free-to-play experiences that you might take a hit on. Because if people start playing a mobile game and it's riddled with microtransactions and you're trying to nickel and dime them from day one, that's when you start losing people, because then you look like you're just money hungry. You're just a money hungry corporation. Nobody wants that. Even if you are, nobody wants that. So it's important to add value to get people in the door. And while you might lose some, the people that you bring in will start generating more revenue as compared to the people that you lost. So that's where the real value comes into play here. So I wouldn't focus on this as a negative, because I know that mobile gaming still has a very negative connotation in the minds of a lot of people. I would focus more on this as a diversification, as an opportunity for outreach. This is, if gaming is a church, this is the mission work. That's kind of the way that I process mobile gaming. But you can let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Plenty of conversation to be had around this specific conversation or this specific topic. But I, for one, believe in the power of mobile, and I do believe in the power of Game Pass to really transition those that are playing on mobile into fully fleshed out Xbox players. But that rounds out the inaugural episode of Xhibition and Xbox Podcast. I do hope you enjoyed the show, and if you did, hit that subscribe button on YouTube, or you can subscribe to the podcast on anchor.fm/Xhibition. That is Xhibition without the E. In addition to that, it will be heading to more platforms in the future. Anchor starts to distribute the podcast as soon as I hit the go live feed. And so right now it's up on Spotify, but it's coming to Apple and other podcast platforms around the world as soon as possible. I'll keep an eye on that and let you guys know when it is available. But I hope you have a fantastic week. Enjoy your Xbox gaming, and don't forget to power your dreams.